I'd also spent 20 years training in dance, from break dance, ballet, jazz, you name it. And so I think I was trying to find a way of bringing performativity into my painting as well. Before I came here, I was up in a residency in the Yukon where I started to experiment with some videos, and that was kind of a turning point for me. I'm currently working in performance for video, so no paint any longer, but the videos themselves still reference painting as a medium. While I was working on this, I was still doing some experimentations of just myself performing outside. The paintings, even though they looked really, really cool, they were a little bit gimmicky, and the video work kind of decided between myself and the faculty that the video work had a little bit more of an air of sincerity because I myself was involved or engaged in the scenes. So about, I guess, halfway through my studies, I kind of put the animation aside and started to explore more with the performative acts outside. So with those works, I spend a lot of time walking around, running around, searching for scenes. So I'm always thinking in terms of settings outside that function like paintings, that look like paintings themselves, that I can then stage in interaction with my own physical body. I then set up a tripod, turn the camera on, and then I do a performative act in the landscape. The performative acts themselves are based in mythology, they're based in art history, and they're also based in popular culture and movies. So I'm looking at tropes, especially because I'm dealing with a female body. I'm looking at how the female is both represented in art history and in the media, and I'm kind of trying to play with those tropes, but then also turn them on their head a little bit so that there's an underlying concept that we start questioning these tropes, that there's something is amiss, and also bringing attention to the trope itself. I did a piece called Red Carpet. I had found on Kijiji about 40 feet of red carpet that I carried around with me through different landscapes. I rolled them out into the landscape. So I was subverting the idea of the red carpet, that we usually have the red carpet for movie premieres, for famous people walking the red carpet. And my red carpet started at the front of the frame and then moved its way back into the setting. So I was wearing a glittery, tight-fitting black dress and very high heels, high-heeled shoes, and so I teeter from the beginning from the front of the picture frame, and I go down the carpet away from the viewer, so the viewer never sees my face, is only confronted with the back of the female form walking into this landscape. Probably won't go into the mythology of the red carpet, but it's actually from Greek mythology, from a play called Agamemnon by Aeschylus. The painting that I was looking at for the red carpet is a painting by Barnett Newman called The Voice of Fire, where we have a red line moving through a canvas. So I was looking at both abstract paintings and figurative paintings. The second example I'm going to give is a piece that was called Fragonard's Swing, which was based on a painting by Fragonard, which has a woman on a swing and her shoe is flying off. So in art history, a lot of women were placed on swings as a sign of sexuality because they swing overhead the viewer and we can look up her skirt. There were also a number of paintings with a woman on a trapeze. So again, looking at the idea of the female as a performer for a viewer. In the piece that I did, I'm suspended upside down off a trapeze, and the trapeze appears motionless, except for that it slowly starts to move, and then the time is sped up, and I start to spin and kind of swing on this trapeze, and then come to rest again. And I'm subverted upside down, so my dress is up over my head, and you can see my underwear. So again, I'm taking this idea of the sexuality, of the sexual act of a woman in full display, but again subverting it and making the scene very eerie, so you can't tell if it's a scene of a crime scene. I think a lot about how women are displayed in like CSI and other crime series. It's usually a white young woman who comes to a bad end, and is displayed in some way in the frame, in the movie or video frame. And so I'm playing a lot with the idea of how we view these types of images, what our relationship is to them, etc. So I want to make the viewer feel uncomfortable. So there's always something that seems amiss in my videos, that something's not quite right. So we start to question some of these tropes and the way that we present or represent women.